Hello, I would love to show you around Hey Monika. I'm going to show you how to use this software, how to log in, how to find your way around, where to access the scenarios, how to speak to the client, how to speak to Monika as well, just so you know where to go. Don't forget, if you are stuck at any point, you can raise any questions you've got by going to helpmonika.com. That's a place where we gather your issues, your feedback, your suggestions. So please do stay in touch with us there as well as interacting in the Facebook group. Right, I'm going to go and log in. And I just put my email address and password in there, and then I can sign into the software. And what I am faced with is a dashboard that shows me all of the clients I have in my practice. You will see the name client. We like to get to know just like in real life, we like to know our clients by their first name. We like to know a little bit about them. And in each of these sort of cover images, you can see it will tell you a little bit about the scenario that you're looking at and what kind of activities you'll be covering. So with scenario 1, we've got Adele. She's a sole trader. We're going to look at her year-end accounts to trial balance, and we're going to practice in this scenario setting up Xero, bank reconciliation, and sole trader expense queries. It looks like it's going to take us about an hour. And what I'll do to start is click on the purple button here so that I can open up that scenario. Just to say that any time you will have this toolbar on the left-hand side, you can always click on the home button, the little house, that will take you back to this page. Or if you want to log out, you can exit as well using that little doorway, the arrow on the left-hand side. You've also got Monika down here. Monika is your AI mentor. So if you were learning to be a bookkeeper and you were in the office, you would likely have somebody sat next to you who has more experience, has been doing this for a while. And when you are working through some client work and you got stuck and you needed some support, you would probably ask the person next to you for a little bit of help. And that's exactly what Monika's there for. She's there if you need to run something past somebody who also understands bookkeeping. She is your mentor. She's there as your sort of AI guide. So don't forget that Monika's there anytime. And you'll see her you're working through the scenario as well when you get to sort of click on ask for help. So I'm going to take you into Adele's scenario. And it says to me, congratulations, Zoe, we've won a new client. She's called Adele Sorensen. Her business is called Coach Me. And then it tells me a little bit about what's going to happen next. So it says on the next page, I'm going to see some detailed information about Adele and her business that we gathered during the discovery call. So always at this point, we're going to set the scene as if you've just won the client, and we're going to be told there's going to be some more information coming up now. Move on to the next page to do that. So I move on to the next page, and what happens then is I get a little bit of information about Adele, her email address. It looks like she's actually called Adelaide is her full name. I've got some information where she's based, how much she's earning. I've got her VAT number. I know which VAT scheme she's using. And then there's a little video with an introduction from Adele where she tells us a little bit about her background and what she wants from her bookkeeper. So play this, you have this volume button so you can control it. You can make it full screen if you want to. I'm going to just play.
Adele, I've just signed a proposal, and I thought it would be helpful to remind you about my business, so you have all the details fresh in your mind.
So she's going to go on now and tell me about her business and what it is she's looking for from a bookkeeper. So I can go back to that at any time and I can see that information about the client. I've also got some information here about her challenges and needs and her goals and aspiration. She's a business coach. She's working in a market where it looks like time management is one of her biggest challenges. She's a mother. She's got 2 small children and she's balancing her business with her family responsibilities. She's got a husband who works full time, commutes. So it sounds like she's really struggling with the time pressure here. She wants to expand her business, but it looks like she's struggling to find the time to do this. And she also wants to know whether she should be investing more money in marketing, and if so, what kind of marketing is going to yield the best results. So that already gets me thinking as a bookkeeper, she wants some information about where she's spending money on marketing and whether that's actually working. So that might be something I explore with Adele in a future conversation. She's also got some information here about her goals and aspirations. It looks like it's very much about building her business while making sure that she's able to spend time with her family. But it also looks like she's worried about how much she's going to save for tax. She's always worried she's going to underpay or miss a deadline. So I would be a really good bookkeeper here if I was just making sure that as a client she felt really supported and really clear on where she was at any point with her sort of finances and her savings for tax. So I'm going to move forward now. So I can just click on next and I'll go through now to the scenario page. So when you get into a new scenario, you'll be faced with this page. As I said, you've still got this toolbar down the left-hand side, so you can go back to the home page anytime or you can exit. You'll notice that the little Monica pop-up that you saw in the bottom right-hand corner isn't there anymore. That's because Monica's moved into this help section where it says need help. And I'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, I just want to show you this information here with this little bar that we're going to be working down. So it says at the top the name of my client, and then I've got various steps, and these steps vary, the number of steps will vary depending on the scenario that you're in. But each of these steps takes you through something that you need to do while you're working through the Adele scenario. So we're going to start with a bit of information about her customer profile. Then it looks like we're going to request some information. There's a system set up. We're going to set up an organization for her in Xero. We need to upload some files. Looks like there's going to be some missing information. There are some questions to answer. Potentially they're questions from the client about her books. Some adjustments we need to make, and a final trial balance, because you'll remember that we're doing her final accounts up to trial balance. So we're going to work through each of those steps. And when we reach the end, we will also get a kind of score that shows us how we did. This is just so you feel like you have a sort of measure of how you work through the questions. There's no test, but it's good to see, isn't it? Because then if you decided to come back and do that scenario again, you might be able to see whether you've sort of improved on your score. This is how we build confidence. So in each of these steps that in this scenario are labeled 1 to 10, there might be a couple of different screens where we need to answer questions. So you'll see something like this, a little sort of header about the question that you're being presented with, and then you might have some options to choose from. This is obviously just the first one, saying, have you got everything you need? And you can say, yeah, I'm ready to go. The question, by the way, actually is, have you read through the customer profile and scenario introduction? I'm going to assume you have, and you're going to say, yes, I'm ready to go. And what you'll find is if you get it right, it goes green. If you get it wrong, it goes red. Usually you'll get some kind of pop-up underneath here that tells you, great work, let's move on, or maybe you need to try this or think about this, or maybe you could even get some support with it. And then we can move on to the next section. Over on the right-hand side here, we've got a number of different buttons to click on. So you'll see that there's this need help. So when you are stuck with anything, which happens, doesn't it, when you've got a client, you might look for help information or documents or a training video, or you might ask the person sat next to you, who in this situation is Monica, your AI mentor. So what we've tried to do in this help section is give you access when it's appropriate to help guides or help documents or training videos, which actually work you through specific steps. So you'll find that at various points in the scenario, there will be some training videos or help documents that will support you. If there aren't, or if you don't find that answers the question that you have, you can also go in and you can ask Monica for help. So I'll show you that in a little while, but you've always got this option here to chat in here and ask Monica for some help, and you can just send that off there and you'll have a conversation with Monica here. So Monica is your guide, but I'm going to close the help and I'm going to go back to the scenario. One of the other things you've got here is a document vault. So because we're doing Adele's bookkeeping, we're going to need to ask for information from her so we can complete her accounts. And she, as with any client, is going to need to provide us with various pieces of documentation. So she's a sole trader. She might have some charity donations, or she might have some savings interest if we're looking at her like accounts for the year for her tax return. There might be some paperwork that's missing supporting some business transactions that she's got. So we might need to ask for those different things during this scenario. And we might need to talk to the client to get those bits of information. So at various points, I might need to click on talk to the client, and this opens another window where I can message Adele. This to me looks a little bit like if you're using a Facebook Messenger or something, to have a conversation with somebody. So I'm going to type my conversation in and send it, and then she'll be able to reply to me. And at various times she'll say, yeah, of course, I have provided that information for you, or I've attached the PDFs, or I've sent you the invoices that you've requested. And whenever she sends us any information, she will be adding it to the document vault. So this button here that says view document vault is where any paperwork that Adele or the client you're working on has shared with you, it will appear in the document vault. At the moment, this Monica's tips is something that we haven't built out, so that won't change. But we've also got the view client profile. So if you wanted to go back and look at the client profile, you've got that page there for you, so you can go back and remind yourself about Adele. I'm going to just work through some of these questions so I can show you how some of this help functionality works, and we can have a bit of a conversation with Adele as we're working through. So in this situation, in this question, step 2, we need to find out whether our client is using Xero at the moment, because we need to set her up with some accounting software. So the question is the client using Xero? Now, I don't know that from any of the information that I've already received. I could go back and I could look at the client profile to see if I can find out. I could watch the video again and see what Adele says, but I haven't seen anything about her using any software. And I'm going to, because I don't know, I'm going to go and speak to the client by clicking talk to the client. And I'm going to say, hi, Adele, are you using Xero? And then she's going to reply to me and let me know. So she says, no, I don't currently use Xero for my business and I don't have an account. So that's great, because I know now that she's not using Xero, and I can answer that question. And of course, then I can go and set her up with a Xero account of her own. So I'm going to say, no, that's the answer that the software was expecting. That's great to know. Let's move ahead, set her up on a Xero account, and then we can move on. I'm not going to go and do all of the various activities because you probably haven't got time to sit through me doing that. But here's another one. A question here is that we need to upload her bank statements into her Xero account. So we're going to need to make sure we request those, otherwise we haven't got anything to upload. So it says, have you requested the relevant information from the client? So I'm going to go and just speak to the client again. And I'm going to say, hi, Adele. Please, could you give me your bank statements? And she hasn't replied because she's probably busy doing something else right now. Just going to give her a little nudge, as we do sometimes in real life. And what Adele will do is, although she isn't playing ball for me right now, which is the glory of testing any kind of software, and I'm going to just share, I'm going to take a little screenshot of that because I can show you what to do with that when we have a problem or an issue. What Adele will do is she'll put that document into the document vault for me, and I'll be able to go in the document vault. Oh, I've actually already requested it when I've worked through this scenario. So she's dropped her bank statements for me in the document vault. So I don't think she was sharing it because I have asked for it already. So it's in the document vault for me there. So I'll say, yeah, I've done that. Great. Let's move on. So then we're going to go through and we're going to do various things for Adele. At the moment, it looks like we're going to set up a Xero account. Now, I might have never done this activity before, so I might ask my mentor for some help, or I might look for some sort of advice or a video that will help me. So at this point, I'm actually going to go into the help section. I do have that option to chat with Monica, but I do also have some training videos that will support me in setting up my Xero account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through and I'm going to watch that video.
How to set up a Xero organization. To do that, easiest place is on the green My Xero.
So there's our friend Stuart talking us through how we go in and set up a Xero account. So I can watch that through. I can follow that through. I can set up a Xero account. And what we're doing in this situation is, if you're a Xero partner, you can set up a 30-day free trial in a Xero account. This scenario is going to take you a couple of hours at most, so you're not going to keep that account live forever and have to pay for it. So that's a good way to practice as you're working through these scenarios. So Stuart will talk you through that. at various points, so I might need a bit more information. Maybe I want to actually ask my mentor for some help. And in that situation, what I would do is I would chat with Monica, and I could ask Monica, my mentor, a question at any point. So maybe I say to her, maybe I'll ask her, how do I set up a Xero account for a new customer? I'll say, how do I set up a Xero account for a new bookkeeping client? And then Monica's going to have a little think about that, and Monica is going to give me an answer and tell me what I need to do. So she's given me a step-by-step guide on how I'm going to set up a Xero account. And then I can follow through those steps if I'm finding that maybe there's something in the video and I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Or what's an opening balance? Or I'm just, these are the kind of things that might come up for me. I'm going to ask her now, what is an opening balance in Xero? Because these are the kind of questions that we have, don't we? And then Monica is going to explain that kind of thing. So she's really good if you need step-by-step instructions, or if you need an explainer of a term, or any of those things that you worry about, the sort of new terminology or new ideas, or how to deal with a particular transaction. She's really helpful for those kind of things. So you can always go and ask Monica at those points. So your job then is to go through, answer all of the questions, and then when you get through to the end, you will reach a page where you get this final score that shows you how you did. And then you can move on with another scenario. We're working on new scenarios all the time. We're interested in your suggestions of what you'd like to see. But what I'd really like to show you is how to raise an issue if you need any support or you need to make a suggestion for us. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you how to do that as well. If you just bear with me for one moment. I'll bring that up now. Just opening the new window. So the link that you need to know for submitting feedback or getting help is helpmonika.com. So to access that, just type in helpmonika.com and it will take you to a dashboard that looks a little bit like this. For the first week or so of having Hey Monika live, we've tried to organise any feedback and questions and requests for support in a Facebook community. As you will know, as business people, we don't own our Facebook account. That could disappear at any time. And there are some really valuable resources and some really valuable feedback, both for us as a team, but also for you as a bookkeeper, that we need to make sure that we can track, record, organize in some kind of way and actually action. So what we've decided to do is keep everything here on this kind of dashboard, and then we can build out a roadmap for how we're going to develop Hey Monika here. And what I would ask you to do is, if you have an issue, it's very simple to use. All you need to do is create a post. You give it a title. So, we had this issue just now where the client, Adele, wasn't responding. So I'm going to attach the screenshot that I made where we were asking for the bank statement and Adele wasn't providing it. So I'm going to say Adele was not providing the bank statement when prompted. When you're typing things in, you will sometimes get suggestions because other people will be sharing their questions and requests for help on Help Monika as well. So it might be that question has already been raised. And if that's the case, if you can just add a comment to the existing post, that really helps us to organize everything. But don't worry if not, we'll be going in and we'll be reviewing this and we'll try and tie different posts together. So I'm going to say Adele was not providing the bank statement when prompted. I requested the bank statement several times from Adele. I'll say in scenario 1, so that's quite helpful for us. We might actually add something where we can say which scenario were you working on, but she did not supply it. And I'll just say it turns out I'd actually already requested it and it was in the document vault. Is there something she could say when a document's already in the vault? Okay. I'll say, or was this a glitch with her not responding? And then I'm going to give it a category. So you can have help with AI, help with client, help with billing, help with something else. Or if you've got a suggestion of a feature or a suggestion of a scenario with a particular type of client or a particular industry or particular issue, for example, you can request that too. I'm going to say here, this is probably a client issue. And I'm going to just submit it. And then that will appear. If it's the first time you've used this platform, it will just ask you for your email address, and then it will send a special code to your email address, which you just have to type in. It's just to prove you're not like a spammer. But once you've done that, your idea or your thought will then be added to this list, and it means as a team we can go through and work through these things, and you'll get updates as well by email on the things that you've submitted. So hopefully this is going to be a really good way for us to track any challenges. I think that's all. I think that's all I need to cover. So hopefully you now know how to use Hey Monika, and you know how to share an idea or feedback or ask for support as well in a way that we can really track it as a team. One thing I should say is you do have the option to upvote and downvote things here. So if you've got something on the list like reset password function, it's something that is really crucial for us. We are working on this right now, and you're like, yeah, that's really important. You can also upvote these things. So that's an option as well, and that just helps us see what people see as like the most important improvements. Okay. We're here if you need our support. You can just email us hey@heymonika.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.